Wow. I feel like I say this every single month, but I can't believe that it's already almost the end of January and therefore the end of the first month of 2022. It's honestly gone by very quickly for what's been a pretty calm month for me. I actually want to take the time to talk about a few movies that I saw this month. So the first movie that I want to talk about is Licorice Pizza by Paul Thomas Anderson. And I think for a lot of countries it just came out or has recently come out, so it's still definitely in theaters and definitely easy to go and see. And I, for the most part, really enjoyed this movie. I think it's my most favorite of his recent films. And basically it follows Alana Haim and Cooper Hoffman's characters, one of whom is a 25-year-old and the other is a high schooler and 15. It follows the two characters' relationship and the kind of ebb and flows that means for a relationship of that nature. On topic of that kind of weird relationship, Rowie Deschanel just came out with a new video that talks about this movie, but a bunch of other movies that also deal with age gap relationships. And if a director decides to represent these types of very taboo topics, if that means that they also are in accord with those taboos. It's, I guess you could say, an uncomfortable topic, but I think the way that Anderson examines it is fairly neutral, and so it's still easy to enjoy the film. Especially the chemistry of the two main actors is fantastic. I think for two actors who I know this is Cooper Hoffman's first work, or at least big film. I'm actually not sure for Alana Haim. I'm not sure if through her band she's had more like acting roles or acting roles that wouldn't necessarily be thought of as acting roles. But they were both fantastic, and I think in that regard for two people who are kind of unknown, even though they definitely do have backgrounds in Hollywood for various reasons, that was a very, very nice surprise. Of course, there were some things that I found kind of slow, especially the latter quarter of the film, third of the film, which sometimes just felt like it was kind of meandering a little bit too much. But yeah, I think basically the strengths are when those two main characters are together in the movie, they just play off of each other so well and makes each scene really exciting, especially the first long shot of the film that basically introduces the two main characters at Cooper, or his character Gary's, high school. The energy between the two of them is fantastic, and it really feeds and creates an excitement for the audience, even if nothing particularly exciting is actually happening. But overall, I think it was a really excellent examination of the Valley in the 1970s. For my next film, I wanted to talk about Tully, which actually came out in 2018, so it's a bit older but still very contemporary. It's by Jason Reitman, but the writer was Diablo Cody, who also wrote Juno, Jennifer's Body, Young Adult, so she has a very good understanding of what women want and how they're represented. I really found this movie to be a nice surprise. I remember back in my MoviePass days that Tully had a trailer that really irritated me and I never wanted to see the movie, but honestly it's such a good surprise, an examination of a woman who's just had a baby. Tully follows Charlie Theron's character, who has just become pregnant with her 3rd child. She gives birth. She is of course married, has 2 children, one of whom is clearly neurodivergent, but they don't have a specific diagnosis for him, so it's hard to help him. After she gives birth, she realizes that she just cannot do things on her own, so with the help of her brother they hire a night nurse who she instantly gets along with. And so this film is an exploration of what it means to be a mother and what society deems a mother must do in order to be a mother. And I don't mean on a basic level, I mean in a middle class. You must always bake cookies for your children and then send them to class with those cookies type of situation. It's actually very funny too, very poignant, and of course it talks about a subject that happens to many people but is rarely discussed because of the kind of disgusting parts of what it means to have a baby and what happens to your body afterwards. In essence, it's very realistic but highly enjoyable. My last film is The Power of the Dog, which came out last year and is by Jane Campion. To me this was also a bit of a surprise, mostly because the beginning, not to say that I didn't enjoy the beginning, but it was very slow paced and it was hard to get into the movie, but about halfway through there was a change in tone almost, not in a very obvious way or like a change in genre or anything, but it just made it so intriguing. You wanted to know what happened next and then after that. And so it kind of just pulls you in, but in a very subtle way. The 3 main more established actors, Benedict Cumberbatch, Kirsten Dunst, and Jesse Plemons, are all fantastic in their roles. I wouldn't say that one was necessarily better than the other. And then lastly, somewhat of a newcomer, Cody Smith-McPhee, was also very good and definitely held up with the 3 other actors, who of course are more established than he is. Not to give too much away, but it's about a cattle ranch in Montana that's run by 2 brothers, so Benedict Cumberbatch's character and Jesse Plemons. Jesse Plemons' character, who's the more conservative person, not necessarily in politics but in the way that he dresses. He's more of a gentleman, you could say. He decides to marry Kirsten Dunst's character, who is not from the same type of family that their family is from, and she has a teenage son. So Benedict Cumberbatch is instantly very annoyed. He's very cold and distant and is constantly making fun of Kirsten Dunst. However, something changes, and because of that he becomes friends with her son. I won't say anything more so I don't spoil it, but it's definitely a good movie and I definitely think it's worth it to watch. It takes place in the 1920s too, so there's still that feeling of a wild, wild west. Yeah, so those are the 3 movies that I wanted to talk about right now. I think quite a few of them are pretty easy to find, so hopefully you'll be able to watch them soon if you haven't already. If you have seen any of these movies, then please, by all means, write about them in the comments and hopefully we can get a conversation going. So with that conversation done, I'm going to go and make banana bread. So it's actually a couple days later. I've been eating a lot of banana bread and it's good. It's not that sugary because there's no sugar added to it. The only sugar you can say is the banana, but it's really good for breakfast, which is when I've been having it most, and I've been eating it with a little bit of peanut butter too, just to add a little bit of protein. So yeah, I just want to close out this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a very fast month and I can't believe that when I'm filming this and also the day that it comes out, it will be February in 2 days. So that will be good because winter is tough. I'm going to get back to eating my banana bread and watching Wild Wild West, which I'm actually on the last episode of. I feel like I'm the last person to have watched this, but yeah, I'm enjoying it. So if you liked this video, please like and comment, maybe subscribe too, and I'll see you soon. Bye.